How's it going, everyone? Nate from Comic Culture here. It's time for Nick at Night, my weekly comic book review show. Before we get into that, though, the Comic Book Community Awards 2023 nomination period is still open right now. Links will be down below in the description to nominate your favorite channel in a wide variety of different categories. So be sure to go down below, click the link, go to the nomination area, and you can nominate for your favorite YouTube channels. So don't forget to do that. I believe you have until August. Plenty of time, but don't forget, do it after this video. But with that out of the way, let's go ahead and get into these books. I'm going to go ahead and put my grading scale up, and as you know, when I introduce this book, I'm going to put the cover of the book on the grading scale so you can see how they all stack up against each other. And we're going to get into DC first. We're going to start with City Boy, issue number 1. Again, this was previewed back in, man, I can't remember when, maybe about a month ago, inside the back of another DC book. It was pretty interesting. Greg Peck is on this one. I did like the little preview story that we got, and this character actually has a very tragic, like, abandonment kind of a background. His mother let him go early, and we're still trying to explore his background, but essentially he's grown up now into his teenage years, presumably, and his power essentially is he can find like anything that he wants to find. He can kind of see the architecture of the land. So let's say he wants 20 bucks. His brain can survey, he can read the city tells him things that it doesn't tell other people, and he can find that $20 immediately. So he's an expert at finding something, but he's also got like this Karnak ability in a way where he knows like the weak points or the points of advantage to take control of if he needs to. Like if he wants to topple a building or something like that, he can interact with this part of the wall in a certain way, and like that building would crumble down. So he's very much like Karnak as well. So I think it's a pretty cool combination of powers. Of course, he gets on the radar of some very powerful people, and they're hunting him down, trying to find where he is because they try to create somebody with this ability. And it was some kind of a, same old routine, some kind of an accident in the lab. He ended up getting this power, and now he's been on the run ever since, and some extremely powerful people are on looking out for him, trying to find where this kid went. And now they found him. What are they going to do with him? We're going to find out as this series continues. Very interesting beginning, I think. Art was really fun. I liked the dialogue a whole lot. I thought it was pretty natural. It was a fun read. Did you guys read this one? What'd you guys think? Next, we had Doom Patrol Limited Series. We have issue number 3 of 6. This one was really cool as well. I did like it a lot. I've been loving the new Doom Patrol series here. I don't really have a whole lot of experience with Doom Patrol outside of maybe the TV show and maybe, when they pop in here and there in some other random books. But this series has been written very well. There's a real cool comedic element to it that you would expect with the Doom Patrol. It's kind of like an Umbrella Academy, kind of like a Suicide Squad, but it's got this other layer of humor and levity and just funness to it that I think you don't see anywhere else. So, man, issue number 3 of Doom Patrol was great. They're actually on the run right now from some of the Lanterns. They're out to get them because some of the members of Doom Patrol, like Cliff and Negative Man, they actually have this person they're escorting right now to like a safe place, and the Lanterns are extremely upset that they're in possession of this person because they have a long history with this particular villain in a way. And so, but there's some things that this villain has adapted. This villain has, grown up and evolved into something different, right? And so the Green Lanterns really don't understand what that means yet, but we're going to explore it inside of here. And it's just a really fun, like, chase issue. It's been really, really cool to read the Doom Patrol. Read Unstoppable Doom Patrol if you haven't yet. 6-issue limited series. Very cool start to the series. Next Dawn of DC book we read was Green Arrow issue number 2, another great book from Williamson. And I've been having fun with this one so far. It's only 2 issues into the series, and it's pretty cool. So Oliver has basically been transported to this really weird, mysterious alien planet, but he goes back doing what he knows to do best, which is like clean up the streets, take on whatever corruption he sees over there, and that's what we get to touch base. That's what we see when we touch base with him as well. We have Arsenal as well. We had a pretty touching family reunion. I don't quite want to spoil if you haven't read that issue yet, issue number 1, but we have Arsenal here on this revenge mission with Black Canary. So the two of them are teaming up to go towards Amanda Waller, trying to get some answers, and we get a cool cameo at the end from a character that we see a lot in other DC books right now, which I'm excited that he's involved with a lot of these other books too, and he pops up at the end of Green Arrow as well. So if you've been staying away from Green Arrow because maybe you're not interested in the character, dude, check this book out. It's really cool. Williamson's doing a great job. Art's been killer as well, so above my expectations for sure. All right, we're gonna get into some Marvel books real quick with Daredevil and Echo issue number 1, and I was a little bit hesitant getting into another Daredevil book because of Zdarsky's run ending pretty soon, and I was a little bit hesitant to get in here, but I went ahead and took a chance just to see what it was all about, and it wasn't actually that bad. It does take the whole Daredevil thing in a slightly different direction. He's actually teaming up with Echo in here, but we also have this secondary story that's playing in conjunction with our main story because the villain's very much the same, but we're actually visiting New York back in the day, back in like Gangs of New York kind of time, and they're talking about all the bloodshed and the bodies that are literally buried throughout the place, and there's this supernatural thing that was actually buried in the city that's now wreaking havoc yet again, and it kind of talks about the origin of that mysterious element, and then it touches back on the present day representation of that element, and that character actually pops up in here, and I believe it's a character we've seen already before in a couple other comics, which kind of ruined it for me, honestly, but the buildup was cool. The team up with Echo wasn't like outstanding, like they were just kind of talking and they got attacked, and they really didn't have a lot of time to really do much about it, but we're going to see the story unfold in the next coming issues. We have Earl and Phil Noto on here as well, so great creative team on this. I don't know, did you guys read Daredevil and Echo, and let me know what you guys thought about it. All right, the next Marvel book we had was Fury issue number 1 from Al Ewing. Al Ewing's the only reason why I actually got on this book, I think. There's some other names on here too that sent me in that direction, but like Nick Fury is not a super interesting character for me. In fact, before even picking up this book, I pretty much guessed what the plot was going to be because I don't know if there's just that many things you can do with Nick Fury, or all of his stories are pretty predictable. They're all kind of the same thing, that like I wasn't too surprised when I got to the end of this book, to be honest with you. So it's like, there's going to be some kind of internal corruption that he's going to be taking over. There's going to be some super powerful antagonist that he's going to be going up against, and the Watcher is going to be involved. Like that's like the Nick Fury thing right now, and that's exactly what you get inside of this book right here. If you're a big fan of Nick Fury and you like that spy espionage side of Marvel Comics, I think you're going to have a good time with this book because it was entertaining at the end of the day. And we get a cool little like meta commentary on Nick Fury in the comic books. And so that's something that it was kind of new to me. I was a little bit confused. Like, why is he picking up a Nick Fury book and trying to learn the origin of this mysterious like person, place, or thing, from that comic book that's going to apply to his real world situation at that moment. So that piece kind of went over my head a little bit, but maybe you guys that have been reading Fury a little bit more, or maybe some of the Avengers or some of the ancillary Marvel stuff, maybe that'll click with you. But Fury, I mean, at the end of the day, was it entertaining? Sure. Was it a predictable story? Absolutely. But, maybe it's just enough to kind of keep me interested, and Al Ewing's on it, so you might want to check it out. All right, Groenbeck Gideon on Thor, issue number 34. Pretty cool issue. If you like Thanos, you like Doom, you like Hela, you like Thor and Odin and Bor and all these people kind of like getting together in this weird between space and time kind of a thing, then this is going to be a cool book for you to explore. There's a few different high concepts in here that I need to kind of digest. There's a lot of things going on right now with this. There's like Thanos is going way back in time, and so he's kind of had this time memory lapse in a way. He recognizes certain people, but he's gone back to a very specific point in time, and he was trying to take advantage of something that Bor was trying to achieve back in the day. And of course, we have this whole Hela Doom relationship right now. Doom's trying to, of course, take over the world, and he's trying to gather some certain elements, but he's also trying to stop Thanos from making a really, really big mistake inside of this book. And there's a cool little revelation that they unveil towards the end, I think. And it's been a pretty interesting book. I feel like I need to go back and read the last few issues to really absorb exactly what is all going on in here, but it's been a cool read so far. If you've been waiting for some Doom, waiting for some Thanos, this is your opportunity to see them in some battles and stuff. So pretty interesting read. I think I gotta go back and read a couple more just to, put all the pieces together, but Thor issue number 34, pretty cool. All right, going over to some indie books, we have TMNT and Usagi Yojimbo issue number 3 from IDW. Man, Stan Sakai is killing it inside of this book. We have colors by Hi-Fi Designs, which is fine, and I got that Eastman cover right there. I really wish he did wraparounds, but he's not doing wraparounds. I think issue number 4 or 5 is going to be drawn by Kevin Eastman with inks by Peter Laird. And I believe, according to the news article that I read, it's like the first time that they've teamed up since TMNT number 50 or something like that, back in like the Mirage days, if I'm not mistaken. So it's been probably decades and decades since they teamed up, and they're going to be teaming up on the cover for, I believe, 4 or 5. So be on the lookout for that. I'm going to probably pick up a couple copies because I think that's going to be a crazy like landmark thing. And I really hope they team up for something in The Last Ronin, maybe. I don't know. Or maybe on some kind of mini series. One can wish, right? So, but let's get into this one right here. Very charming book. If you like Usagi Yojimbo, if you like TMNT, you're going to be teaming up together inside of this book to take on a familiar threat from their past. And of course, they are neck deep in like these mole monsters they're trying to take on right now. And they're getting into all kinds of trouble. These moles are after the Emperor, after Usagi's Emperor. And so the TMNT, the Turtles rather, are actually there to help save the day. And of course, we have our big bad villain in here in control of everything, but he's actually developing these highly advanced robots to take out the Turtles in this timeline. But now he's had a lot more time to prepare for their arrival. So very charming book. If you like Usagi Yojimbo, you're going to love this one. Same exact art style from Stan Sakai. Very, very cool book. Recommend this one a lot. Going over to Image Comics, we have Indigo Children issue number 3, and there's a slew of creators on this book. Story and script by Kirk Pyers and Rockwell White. So very interesting story. This is basically a story about a bunch of different superheroed, they're about teenagers or so, maybe in their 20s, but there's some age differences between them here and there. They actually had a big memory loss, but they're actually superheroes, and they were part of a big team back in the day. Something happened, or their powers got suppressed during infancy or something like that. It kind of depends on the person, but they forgot essentially who they were, and they've been living this normal life ever since until other members of the Indigo Children find them and unlock that memory within inside them, and now they're teaming up to take on the man, essentially. And so it's pretty cool. This one actually here is going over Songbird. That's her name. She's actually a little girl who used to live with this family, but the father made some bad deals with the mob or robbed from them, something like that. And she was taken. Her family was killed, and she was actually forced to become the daughter of this mobster, and then her brainwashing kicked in, and she forgot who she was, but she gets her latent powers revealed to her again towards the end of this book, and she actually joins our Indigo Children to go fight the big battle. Now we are one person away from completing our original team, and so once they get together, we're going to see what their main objective is. But the other cool thing is there's actually other people that are like them on the villain side, and so they're going to be teaming up to stop them as well. So it's a really cool like battle of the superpowers that we're going to get here soon, and it's been really fun seeing this team build over time and to get their individual stories, and you can kind of put it all together and realize that a lot of these kids are just tragic figures that were brainwashed, and now they're part of this bigger, broader group to do some good. So Indigo Children, a very cool book. I'm so glad it's out right now. Very interesting. Check that one out for sure. Then going into Ambassadors issue number 5 from Mark Millar, another cool book that basically goes over building a superhero team. So we're going to see a lot of that theme in the next book or so. But I think the stories are really intriguing. It's just kind of a coincidence and kind of a shame that we have similar flavors in books right now. But with that said, this is actually a book that goes over Mr. Australia right here. I'm just going to call him Mr. Australia. He's our Australian representative. He's got a really cool, interesting backstory. He's been in the political scene for a long time. He's been kind of seen as like a bigot growing up his whole life, supporting some pretty short-sighted things, but he actually has a pretty deep, dark secret himself that he reveals to our lady who's actually controlling the ambassadors right now, and he gets on board and he gets his superpowers, and it's basically a issue of him going through trying to save these vegans who went out and got stranded in the ice. And so it's him displaying his powers, doing what he can do, learning about his backstory, but he comes across somebody that he's never met before with very similar powers to him, and this guy kind of opens his mind and opens his eyes a little bit to the fact that there's other people out there like him and his team, and that they were born in like a beta period in a way, and they were kind of thrown away and forgotten. And very similar to Indigo Children, we have this other set of villains that have very similar powers as well, and so they're going to be making their presence felt here very soon, and we're going to have, again, battles of like the superpowered people. So pretty cool little book. If you can handle the somewhat repetitive nature of some of the indie books right now, this is another great read. Speaking of Mark Millar, an indie book about powers and things like that, and the villains coming around to seek their revenge, man, we have Nightclub. This is issue number 5, a $1.99 book. There's no reason why you shouldn't be jumping on this. With your pull list discounts, man, this book is practically free, so jump on this one for sure. Mark Millar is putting up the big game soon, the big game with Pepper Larez. He's basically taking a lot of his universe characters and he's going to be putting them inside of this great big collage of whatever, right? And so it's going to be really fun to see what he does there with like Kick-Ass and the Magic Order and Hit Girl and Nemesis and the Ambassadors and Nightclub and good. The list goes on, but it's going to be something else. I cannot wait for that. July 2023. So be on the lookout for that right here. Nightclub, basically a quick synopsis of what's going on so far. We had this boy that was injured, real kind of showy, things like that. He's doing some stupid parkour stuff. A vampire turned him so he would regain access to his life, essentially, because he was pretty much a vegetable at that point. He then turns his friends because they think it would be really cool, and then they go out in the town and they start taking on all these villains and bad guys and drug dealers, people who hurt people. And then they got under the radar of some very powerful, ancient vampires like themselves, and they basically hunted them down, and they gave them this really crazy, violent ultimatum to kind of like show their worthiness, right? And if they don't do it, they're going to do it for them, kind of a thing. And so they don't exactly know what to do. Their mentor that kind of got him into this position, he is no longer around. And so it's a very violent, very bloody, extremely high stakes, very interesting book from Mark Millar. If you're into vampire stuff, you got to be checking out Nightclub. Donny Cates on Vanish, issue number 7. Man, it's like every other issue of this book is interesting, and then it's boring, and then it's interesting, and then it's boring. So where we land with this one, fairly interesting. I thought this was going to be the end of the first arc, but not exactly sure. Of course, the artwork inside of here is always something special with Ryan Stegman doing the interiors, but it's like the story itself is a very dark, very brooding, very like, man, I have a horrible past. I've made awful decisions. I'm an awful person. I can't do this. It's very depressing to hear the different characters talk about the things that they've gone through. But then again, you look at who's writing it, and you kind of make sense, to be honest with you, because a lot of his books are very dark and moody, and maybe even some personal stuff thrown in there. Who knows? I mean, we always pull from ourselves when we need some inspiration, things like that, and no knock on him whatsoever for that. It's just the style of his books as of late. Again, crazy, insane artwork. I'm loving it right here. I think this would be a great trade read, to be honest with you, because like I'm losing some of the people and the relationships and the names and the motives and things like that between the issues. So I think this would actually be a really cool trade read to sit down and read all 7 issues in one sitting and just kind of see how it resonates with me at that point. But are you guys reading Vanish? Let me know what your overall thoughts are down below. Then The Forged from Rucka. Man, this book is insane. Again, it's that larger format, which I think is cool. I wish it was almost like a DC Black Label, because it's still floppy paper. I wish it was a little bit of a cardstock paper, but dude, this book is crazy good. I love it. Basically, Lady Space Marines going through trying to do this black box recovery on this alien planet. They're attacked by these big giant native bug monsters, things like that. They're trying to do whatever they can do to survive there, but they're also wrapped into this like sabotage plan. The ship that they deployed from was destroyed, and now they're kind of stranded on this place. There's like this spiritual representation of their empress that they have to deal with now, and she has precog abilities, so she can see what's happening before it happens. She's got this ultimate end game that she hasn't quite divulged the information for, and she's basically at the mercy of these Marines, but the Marines are also at the mercy of her because she's given them battle orders on the fly just so they can escape this gigantic planetary assault from all these bug monsters right now. It's a really cool story. I really recommend checking this one out. It is $5.99, but you're getting an extra size book, and it's a lot more pages than usual, and it's been really well drawn. I've been really digging this book so far. So we're only 3 issues in. I wonder how many issues there are, maybe 5. And it's just really cool world building. I think they could do a lot with this. I love all the banter between the different characters. It's got like that rugged feel. It's basically if you have a bunch of different Ripleys going on this alien type adventure in their mech suits. It's really cool. Check out The Forged. It's been a lot of fun. So guys, that's everything I read this week. I hope you like that. Let me know down below in the comments what you read and what your favorite books of the week were. And down below in the description, you're going to find a link to the Comic Book Community Awards. Make sure you nominate your favorite comic book YouTube channels there. But as always, I appreciate you watching the video. Like, subscribe, and share. Hit that bell notification to be alerted of future videos. I'll see you all down below in the comments.